Welcome to our research section. Do you know that 80% of people that buy a property in South Africa are dissatisfied with the home or the property that they buy? Do you know that 80% of people, more than 80% of people who invest overseas actually lose money? And what is the reason for that? The primary reason is that they don't have the right information, they don't have the right skills, and they don't have the right knowledge. So our research section is an extensive review of over 15 years worth of experience. We've got the experience not only to know what is valid research, but also to know where to find it. But rather than you being able to go out and just find, looking all over the internet, because how do you know what is valid and what's not? So what we've done is we've disseminated all that information. We keep you up to date. We provide one place that you can come to on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis, whatever suits you, to find out the latest research on different areas. Now, with regards to our research, what we've basically done is we've broken it down into 6 sections. Now, you can go up above here, or you can go down below to the boxes below, and you can click on the area that is most relevant to you. The first area is property, wealth creation, and preservation. So this is just generic stuff about property, about creating wealth through property, and also about preserving wealth through property in terms of the offshore market and what is actually happening. The second part of the research, or the blog, whatever you want to call it, is basically the South African market. Now you'll see up along the top, when you click on that research, you've got all the different fact files and the numbers. Now that takes you back to the country overview so that you can understand the dynamics of the country. But in terms of the blog section, what we do is we constantly keep you updated there with both video and with text from the latest research that we can find on the South African market. It's exactly the same for the UK market, obviously using some of the latest indices. There's 7 different indices in the UK. The press always like to talk the market up and down. You never really know whether you're dealing with the right person. As an example, a lot of the research they quote is Nationwide. Now Nationwide is the biggest home lender in England. The problem is that less than 50% of properties in England are actually mortgaged. And so we use a company called Academic Metrics. It was originally founded by the Financial Times. It's based on the deeds office, so it includes every single property, and they've got no reason to talk it up or talk it down. And this is where a lot of our research comes from, because we know that it can be tried and tested, and I've followed it now for over 10 years, and so I know the merits of it. With regards to RP with Australia, it's exactly the same thing. We use an organization there called RP Data, and again, it's the latest information, the latest research. Again, it's an independent body that brings out research on a monthly basis, and we'll keep you up to date there with everything that you need to know about the Australian market. The fourth section is America. America, we all know that the global financial crisis started in America. We all know that there's huge oversupply and there's huge risks in America, but there's also great opportunity. But with that great opportunity, you've got to be educated to make informed decisions. And so you can go to America, any research we get on America, you'll be able to go in there, decipher it, understand it, so that you too can become an expert in terms of what is actually happening in the market. The fifth section for us is other markets. We help people invest in international property. I've been involved in the international property game for over 15 years. I lived in London for 9 years. I went to all those massive trade shows where, literally 20,000 people come through the door. There's over 400 exhibitors, and there's every country you've ever thought of, from Egypt to Bali to Bulgaria to Croatia to America to Australia to Thailand to South Africa. You name it, those countries were there. And in that time, I appreciated and I grew a huge amount, because I would go and sit in a presentation on how to invest in France and what French leasebacks are all about. I would go to presentations on Germany and the fact that the German market is very much a rental market, and yet there's great opportunities, but one has to be very, very careful because the tenants have huge amount of rights. I would go to Thailand and find out that in Thailand it's all leasehold and you can't own the property. Or the fact that in Brazil, there's a huge emerging middle class. There are over 100 million people, and that there's fantastic opportunities in those markets. You name the country, whether it's the Caribbean, Bulgaria, Cyprus, I've heard it, I've been there, I've met with people, I've got partners, I've got people I trust, I've got people that I don't trust. But with that experience, what we've disseminated in this section is we put the research in there, even though we don't necessarily help people invest in those countries, because our philosophy is, rather than try and do too much, we would like to be experts in specific fields. And currently our investment strategy has been to focus only on first world countries where we've got first world income and first world assets. Now that might change in time. As you know, any investor, you've got to constantly watching the numbers. You've got to be looking at the return on investment. And when the numbers are right and when I'm happy to invest myself, or my team is happy to invest themselves, then we will offer it to other people. But in the meantime, if you want any research about many different countries, from Mauritius to Cyprus, Malta to New Zealand, Canada, India, China, Russia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Thailand, have I mentioned Cyprus? All markets that we know a little bit about, that we actually want to put the research up there. I mean, a classic example is we looked at investing in India. To invest in India, you've got to be an Indian national. And the thing is that in South Africa, we've got one of the biggest populations outside of India that actually live in South Africa. But then we found out, after doing extensive research, including a trip to India, we actually found out that the ownership rights are very, very dodgy. And so most people in India don't actually rent out their property. They just rely 100% on capital growth. And that for me doesn't suit our requirements, because property is all about income. You've got to be able to focus on income. So again, you know, it just gives you an idea of the level and the breadth of research that we've got, and we want to share that with you in terms of where you are. And the last section is an RSS feed. You know, the world is changing. It's no longer about pushing information onto you. You know, people get bored. There's only specific areas. We now have one of the most sophisticated CRMs in the world. We're using the same CRM that Google and Facebook are actually using, Standard Bank and one time here in South Africa, so that we can build artificial intelligence. So the more you tell us about yourself, the more specific we can be to give you the information that is key to you. So that's all about research, you know, and as they say, knowledge is power, but it's actually wrong. It's informed knowledge that's power, because if you look at professors around the world, there are many, many very poor professors working in universities. So you need to learn from the best. You need to know who to trust. You need to know where to find the information. And what we've tried to provide here under the resources section is one place that you can come to find all the different research on both the local and the international markets. And we believe by doing that, you will be able to get your level of education up, to get your level of understanding up, so that you can make educated and informed decisions, and most importantly, you can invest with confidence.